welcome to Mojave 4 Presents Pitch Slap.
We're here to slap some pitches around and
That's
see what
right.
will stick.
Teach them a lesson.
That's right. First time, if this is your first time coming to the show, thank you for tuning in, choosing to click this and,
Hello and welcome.
watch it. Feel free to like and subscribe and comment away.
Absolutely.
What we do here is we use a series of dice and a bunch of names in a hat to decide on a pitch that we could make to an executive of either movie, TV series, a limited series, like an 8-episode one-off thing, or a stage play. And almost all of the elements in this are decided by either dice or the hat. So the first thing that we will decide is which of those elements we will be pitching towards. So we have the four-sided pyramid here to decide that. Ooh, number 4. I believe that's a stage play. Ooh, this is interesting.
Stage plays are fascinating because there are limitations, but they're usually exceedable. You can go past them because you can do anything on stage. It just requires a level of finesse, and a lot of that depends on visionary directors and set designers and things like that. So while it doesn't really stop you from using your imagination, you should always, if you're going to write a stage play, think about how it's being produced, because that becomes an obstacle in selling a stage play.
Absolutely.
Is how producible it is and what that cost point is going to be. So I'm all about it. Stage play.
So now we're going to roll the 20-sided die to decide what kind of genre this is.
Here we go.
In here. Just so you know, musical is in this list.
It
could turn into a musical.
Could be a stage musical.
We'll find out. Let's see what we get. Now, if we do end up with any of the ones that we have previously used, just within the last couple of episodes or so, we will re-roll, because we don't want to get into a point where we're making the exact same things going on here. So, and with that, we're making a thriller.
Ooh, a thriller, a
stage play. Thriller.
That immediately makes me think of Wait Until Dark.
Oh, what a great show!
Great stage play.
Ooh.
Very, very intense. Absolutely.
Yes.
And a great movie.
Yes, it was. It was a fantastic movie. Surprised it hasn't been remade yet. Yeah, it's very, very good. All right, so there we have. There we have that. What do we
Thriller. So we're going to shake the hat, shake the hat, shake the hat, and first,
select
celebrity.
Oh boy, there could be some film people here who do not do well on stage. First, ooh.
Oh.
You have someone at your door.
I do have someone at my door.
The suspense.
We'll have to pause for a moment. My passport came in the mail. They have to hand it to you in person. Otherwise, it could be stolen.
Right.
All right.
So there you go. So now the name that we drew
Yes.
for our thriller stage show.
The Thriller stage show, first name.
Lucy Liu.
That would be exciting.
I'm loving this.
That would be exciting.
I'm really loving
Shake up the
this.
hat. And the second celebrity, for those of you, if this is your first time, we usually choose 2 celebrities.
Yes. It's a one-man show.
And
Liu.
Viola Davis.
Ooh, there's some
What a
acting
cast.
chops. There's some acting chops going on here now. Ooh.
Oh, in a thriller.
In a thriller. Ooh, what
Viola
kind of thriller?
Davis.
Ooh.
And Lucy Liu in a thriller.
Now, is it just a two-woman show?
No, I'll say that they are the leads.
They are the leads.
Of the story.
Okay.
But I do think that it would be an interesting dynamic to be primarily the 2 of them.
Yes.
Like anyone else would be incidental,
Yes.
but the 2 of them would be key. Thriller.
Where does this thriller take place?
That is an excellent question too.
Because with stage, you can get away with just about any time period you want.
You get away with any time period and any location. So thrillers, to me, oftentimes involve that isolation element,
Yes.
the idea that you can isolate a person and thereby heighten the danger to them.
Yes.
Like Rear Window, or that Hitchcockian notion of being trapped inside your own limitations of personality, even like agoraphobia or something like that. I'm going to say what comes to my mind is an apartment in a mid-sized city, not like LA or Atlanta or New York, just a not a town, but not a full-blown city.
Right.
And I would like it to be in the South, because dealing with two very strong females of ethnic persuasion, telling a story in the South, you immediately get the idea that the threat outside is that insidious, like to suggest that Lucy Liu is being harassed and harangued by someone.
Right.
And they can't dismiss that it could be because of her ethnicity.
Right.
Which then brings us Viola Davis, who could be a sheriff deputy, or or an official who is a part of this. There's something to that. Although now it's like, what if she were a neighbor who we are questioning whether or not she's an ally or a foe. There could be something there as well, because maybe she's feeding Lucy Liu this narrative of prejudice and this narrative of, but that's not what's happening.
And I can cut this out if necessary. But what if this takes place during the riots in Los Angeles in 1992?
Oh, wow. Sure.
And you have two neighbors.
Right.
I mean, this show can literally span the course of these two have known each other. They've been next door neighbors, because there was a lot of tension between the African American community and the Korean community that was there.
But even before we got too far into
Yeah.
that, there was only recently in Atlanta, Georgia, the guy who shot up all those Asian
the parlor,
Parlors.
the salon,
Salons.
spas.
Yeah,
Spas
spas.
is the right word. Spas.
and being neighbors in that storyline.
Yeah.
Again, Deep South, again, that weird division of two ethnicities that neither are white,
Right.
having to have that conversation
Yeah.
of that very dreadful oppression that comes from being non-white, being targeted. That there is a thriller notion to that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't know a lot about that case other than the tragedy of it.
Right.
But if this story took place around that event,
Yes.
then we're dealing with the paranoia of the event and the victim, the fear of being victimized, and Atlanta has always had these lines of difficult. Because when I was a kid, there was a serial killer who targeted young black girls in Atlanta, the Atlanta serial killer. Then there was, the Olympic bombing.
Yep.
There were, so there is an interesting thing that it doesn't ever come to surface a lot.
Yeah.
That what we have in the South is a lot of forced proximity. What you don't see in the South a lot which you'll see in major cities all around, is Chinatown, Koreatown, Little Italy.
Yeah.
You know, places where people fortify themselves against everyone else.
Yeah.
You know, in the South, you have a lot of street by street by street by street.
Yeah.
Neighbor by neighbor, not neighbor by neighbor. A very mixed bag of culture.
Yes.
All together, and if you're doing it, because it doesn't have to be that event specifically, but the idea of a killer who's targeting
Right.
Asian women.
Right.
Let's say that is the spine of it, and maybe Lucy Liu is a survivor of domestic abuse or a survivor of an attack of some type of her past, and this drives her into a type of hiding, and her neighbor Viola Davis is trying to get her out and into the world.
Yeah.
But there's this backdrop of this killer, and there's this backdrop of this imminent danger.
Yeah.
And as a thriller, Lucy Liu can transfer the fear of the killer out there onto Viola Davis.
Right.
And that becomes a very interesting cat and mouse game of even in the audience. What if Viola Davis is the person?
Well,
going around
that's what I
killing
was thinking. At first, I think you work this thing on the presumption that there's a white man doing this. I think you absolutely do that. And then I think over the course of the first act, perhaps on the radio or on television, whatever, she gets a means of a communication that says the police have released a suspect description, and this time they say he is African American, and that can drive Lucy Liu's paranoia of Viola Davis and maybe her son,
Right.
or
her
husband,
or
or brother, or whomever.
the fact that she has all these people who visit her regularly, and she's
Right.
just a familial person.
Yes,
So there are
yes,
people.
yes.
There's coming and goings all the time.
Yes.
And she's uncomfortable leaving the house because any one of them could be.
Yeah.
Which brings out all of this anger and all of this underlying rage of being victimized for the color of your skin for the entirety of your life, only to be accused of taking that same advantage. But of course, if you wanted that table turned correctly, it is Viola Davis.
Yeah.
As you're doing this layering back and forth, maybe the last big reveal is that she is.
She was.
She was.
And to be honest, I see this show now as a completely two-woman show.
You can't absolutely.
I see there's no supporting characters
Right.
anywhere. No, you have a split stage with their houses. Maybe even you have a little picket fence.
You can even do
literally dividing them. But
Yep.
you have a stoop and a stoop.
There you go.
And a backyard and a backyard, and it just takes place in the comings and goings between their houses like that.
You even have a radio. So
Right.
You're hearing different news broadcasts and things.
Yeah. Oh man, this would be an intense show too. Oh, it'd be a good
intense.
thriller.
It'd be a good thriller.
Now you gotta come up with a name for this thing.
Well,
Could be something as simple as Neighbors.
I was gonna say, or Good Neighbor.
Yeah, Good Neighbor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Next Door Neighbor.
Yeah.
The next door neighbor.
This is a hell of a show, to be honest.
It would be intense. It would be
You
absolutely
have
intense.
two actresses who are just incredibly accomplished actresses going at it.
All right.
And we've seen Viola Davis play the heavy before.
Yeah.
With her Amanda Waller.
Right. Exactly.
In the DC universe. But and that's not to say this still would not be an entirely different kind of beast. It obviously would, because she's got to play both sides of a two-sided coin here.
That friendly neighbor, that maternal
Yes,
character.
yes.
Because I think that there is room for there to be a close relationship,
Yes.
and then the fracturing of that relationship,
Yes.
and then the separate camps of it, and then whatever, olive branch brings them back together, and then the denouement.
Yeah.
And even if the denouement is just Viola Davis on stage digging a hole
Yeah, I think it,
and delivering a monologue
Yeah.
about why she does what she does.
right. I think there's no. I like the idea of no solid resolution. You just get the final hint literally before the curtain comes down that it is her.
Yeah.
And Lucy Liu still doesn't know.
Right. And just that common thread.
Oh, that's cold.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Absolutely.
a cold show. All right. So, Next Door Neighbor,
Next door,
two-woman show
two-woman show.
coming to Broadway.
Next door neighbors. Maybe.
Next Door Neighbors. Or the neighborhood. Nah, because that infers more than just the two. Maybe just neighbors.
Or over the fence.
Over the fence. Because that's the way I see it kind of set up. Is
Yeah, no, I think you're
almost
absolutely right.
bifurcated
Right.
apartments, and their shared space is the backyard with this fence
Yeah.
that is there. So your set is the fence, yard, half their living rooms because it's it's split, and then the stoop, and then
You can even
they
have
can flow in and
A
out.
gate between the two.
Right.
And at some point, Lucy Liu puts a lock on the gate.
Right.
And it's like, why is there a lock on
Yeah.
this gate?
Yeah. Ooh. This is a hell of a show. I think there's
intense.
something good
There's
there.
something good there.
I think there's something good there for a show. So if there's anyone out there who's watching this and would like to produce said show, can't say we'll get Lucy Liu and Viola Davis, but the kernel for a show is there.
and that's one of the things that we should explain about these pitch slaps. We're using these actors to establish character, but of course there are plenty of accomplished actors who can step into these roles.
Absolutely.
And that gives us, these are almost template performers, but what other actors would bring to it, absolutely would enhance and give to their strengths.
And I think with a show like the one we've just created, it can be used, race-wise, you can interchange these with any two races, and it will play the same.
Absolutely.
I believe. I think it's got a lot of really strong potential in there. So I'm a fan. What did we settle on the name?
I think the Next Door Neighbors.
Next Door Neighbors.
Or yeah, if it's either the Next Door Neighbor or
yeah.
Next Door Neighbors.
Right.
Next Door Neighbors or the Next Door Neighbor.
Or the neighbor next door.
Or the neighbor next door. Or the woman next door.
Yeah, it's true. The woman next door. Yeah, that kind of gives it away that she is.
Right.
And then again, is the woman next door from the point of view of
Yeah, is the
Viola
woman
Davis,
next door the one? Yeah, exactly.
my paranoid neighbor,
My paranoid
and then
neighbor.
stuff like that. I'm gonna go with the neighbor next door.
The neighbor next door.
The neighbor next
Because
door.
yeah, it could be either or saying the neighbor next door.
Right.
Right.
So the neighbor next door, a thriller play starring Lucy Liu and Viola Davis.
Excellent. There you go.
I think it's a really solid pitch.
That pitch was slapped.
So, thank you guys again for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. If you have any other ideas for actors, actresses, genres, anything along those lines that maybe we haven't hit yet, please comment with them, pitch them to us. We'll put the actors in the hat, even if they're duplicated. That just gives a stronger chance that that actor will be drawn. And we're going to continue slapping pitches here on the Pitch Slap.
Pitch slap.
Thank you, guys.